Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga may actually be coming out this time. The Book of Boba Fett adds another bounty hunter to the cameo list, and we go over the most recent Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian episode. All that and more here on Chatooine. Is there another podcast or show that has a better intro than us?
No.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. I don't watch a lot of the other ones, but hopefully someone does, because I still fucking love our intro. Welcome back, everybody. We had a big Chatooine episode last week, not so much this week, which is kind of good in my opinion, but welcome back. I'm your host, Star Wars Only, joined with Darth Daddy Longa, Palpamines, and the Goldman. So if you're new here on Chatooine, we talk about the news, topics, debate, and we simply chat about Star Wars. We're also on Spotify for any podcast listeners, but if you're watching the show, leave a like and comment in the stream so we can engage with you all. Super chat questions are guaranteed an answer, and we only give the best answers if they are even wrong. Doesn't matter. So how you guys doing? How's the past week for you guys been since we had that last episode?
Weekends are great. I went to an aquarium this past weekend.
Ooh.
I love supporting zoos and stuff like that, especially local ones. And then, so that was Friday night. And then Saturday night, I was dangerously bored by myself. So I watched the new Addison Rae movie on Netflix.
I didn't even know she was an actress, honestly. I thought she was just a famous celebrity.
I didn't know either until like a few days ago. I was like, wait, she has her own movie. She's cute. I'll watch it.
It's crazy.
So
I've just been busy getting ready for the comic book fulfillment. I was sending it all to the printers and everything like that. And the one set of printers actually finished, so they're mailing it out tomorrow. So I've been busy dealing with that and busy putting together a website.
Ooh,
yes,
about that coming soon.
Yep.
Yes. We can announce that in the coming weeks whenever everything's fully ready to go. But I'm excited about it. Chatooine's gonna go places, guys. Eventually, once the show gets big enough, I want to put it on its own channel because I can only do so much for it, and I think that it'd be cool if all four of us could, I don't know, do whatever the hell we want with the channel. But
you have to resolve the Civil War first.
Civil War, and
Chatooine,
and we'll get to the Lucas Civil War at the as our last topic of the day. Everyone's favorite thing, which it's kind of funny. I feel like that narrative has died out slowly. Do you guys feel like the attention on like Star Wars in terms of negativity, like the culture war inside Star Wars, has kind of faded away, or is it still here? Because I feel like recently there hasn't been much drama. I mean, the last big thing was what the Boba Fett thing, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think before that it was really just a Gina Carano situation. But even that, I feel like most people weren't thinking of it as a Star Wars problem. They thought of it as a culture problem.
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, there hasn't been much to really complain about. I mean, there was the Slave One thing, but
I mean, come on.
So
I'm not losing sleep over it.
We'll see what happens once the shows actually start coming out next year. You never know. There might be a minority character in the Obi-Wan show, and people are going to freak out. So,
I've already seen videos when they announced the casting. So,
of course,
I mean, we already went through that phase, Goldman. Come on.
Well,
It's
late to the party.
Even when they announced Deborah Chow being the director of the Kenobi series, I remember making a video about it and then seeing people like react negatively in the comments and people in general kind of being like, oh, they're putting a woman, an Asian woman, as the director for this. Like, it's for the diversity thing. And I just remember thinking at the time, like, really? Like this? Like, are we going that far into this now? Like, you can't hire anybody as directors now without it being kind of an agenda. It does feel like it's fading away. Phoenix says it's fading away, and that's why they're clinging to the Dave Filoni comments in The Mandalorian so much. They need it since Star Wars is doing well right now.
Oh yeah, the Ahsoka.
I wouldn't call it fading away. It's quiet.
I would agree with that.
It's calm before the storm.
I'm telling you, just wait. Just wait.
They're in hiding. They're waiting.
So what do you think is going to reactivate the culture war? Is it going to be a new Star Wars movie, or is it going to be
another
something
female
like?
lead?
Okay. Do you think so? Do you think which one's going to have the more like negative reaction? Something like the new movie, The Acolyte, because that one already has controversy around it. We haven't even seen anything, or Lando, because Lando's going to be written by a guy who someone's going to consider SJW, and it's also going to be probably predominantly black.
They are licking their chops, waiting for this Leslie Headland movie series to come out just to trash it.
They can't
get already.
I don't think the Lando show is going to get hate because Lando's a pre-existing character. But the
They didn't
acolyte,
like Lando and Solo.
So it's not forced diversity
Mm.
then, okay? Because
It's
he was
not,
already
'cause
there.
it's
But however, if you add one more, then nope,
I think it depends. If one of these shows that comes out, like if the Obi-Wan series sucks, then people will probably find a reason. But we're all optimistic. Everything's going to be great.
Yeah.
As Steven Spielberg and George Lucas once said.
I do think it's kind of fading away to an extent, you could say, because like Goldman said, there hasn't been really much to complain about, but even the tiniest things, people will find a way to lose sleep over. But I do think, getting overall Star Wars fans, they're kind of getting tired because, yeah, the sequels are over, which caused the most outrage. They're over. It's been almost 2 years now since Rise, and I think a big chunk of that fandom is still seeing that other side, still constantly complaining about them. I think they're already getting tired of that. Like, okay, like, can we just move on? And so I do see that, but overall, yeah, I'm still waiting for this next wave of shows to come out, and then we'll have our answer, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting path forward for the fandom. I think we've. It sounds kind of stupid. It's like a community healing thing, but it feels like we have healed in a way where a lot of people who, at least on this side of the screen, me and Lunga, we don't like the sequels, but we don't care either. Like, it's not something that, like, I'm not waking up every day being like, oh man, they could have done it better or something. It's like, okay, like, it happened, it sucked, and it's like, I'm moving past it. So it's kind of nice to see that a lot of fans have, I feel like they're taking that approach now. Like, they're kind of being tired of hating on everything constantly. I mean, how long can you hate something? The Dave Chappelle hate.
You'd be surprised.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
That I was gonna say too.
I mean, you go the site of Ray on Instagram, you go to the comments, and people are just, oh, by the way, she's an awful character. It's like, or a picture of Daisy Ridley.
Oh, there's people that want to run off of Twitter just because, like, they'll do something innocent, like they'll bring up Daisy Ridley and say, oh, she was such a beautiful Jedi, or just something innocuous,
Like, yeah.
And just because they like the actress and they like the character, nothing, not like because there were people that were like poking the bear, like saying, the sequels are better than all Star Wars movie ever made. Changed my mind. You know what I mean?
Me?
Yeah. That's like, at least that, I could see. That's why people have a little back and forth, whatever. But those people just on their own Twitter just saying, hey, I like this person, I like this character, and people just like slamming them. Oh, you like trash. You like this.
I saw there's this Lego Star Wars account, makes all these cool Legos, and one of them had a Kylo helmet. His Instagram. I went to the comments to see what people were saying about it. Every single comment was like, I freaking hate the sequels. I hate Kylo, but this is cool. It's like, what's the point?
No, this is funny. I got a comment from someone. It was just a period, but the account name was, I'm trying to mock the R-word sequel defenders. I don't know if that word's gonna get me canceled or not, so I'm gonna stay cautious.
It is canceled, and I'm glad you stayed cautious, because I have not in the past, and it shot me in the foot. Shout out to Falcon. He says, I personally don't know about the drama dying out. People are not shutting up about Gina Carano and still believe Kathleen Kennedy is against the Mando. That's a very funny
character.
Yeah, that's a very funny thing, because it seems like she came up with that idea for Dave and John to tackle Mandalorians, and then Jon Favreau pitched it. Shout out to RJ Dorian. Thank you guys for the super chats. He says, the Lucasfilm Civil War was made up by Doomcock or some random Lucasfilm employee who got fired and decided to make this up. I don't know where it started. Was it Doomcock? Was it Mike Zero? Was it a mix of both? Like, it just felt like...
I think it was Doomcock.
The Doomcock is when people actually believed it, because I think there's like, Mike Zero has he's got a big fan base, but even like the worst of the worst still are like, yeah, he's complete BS. But then Doomcock made that video, and they all believe. I'd say it's Doomcock, because once that came out, that's when I started, like, you publicly heard people talking about it and stuff, and like all these news sources were like making articles and stuff about it, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, we got to do. We got to do Star Wars onlys. You have the saved videos. There's one that's like, it's gonna be great, and there's one of George Lucas that's like, they've gone too far in a few places. You need one of Jon Favreau in his compliment towards Kathleen Kennedy from the documentary.
Yes.
Like, Kathy's been a great producer. Like, if the topic comes up that's anti Kathleen Kennedy, just like pull up Jon Favreau saying, Kathy's been great for us. She knows what she's doing. And then
that's a good idea. That's a good idea. We'll definitely talk about that closer to the end of the show, about that whole debacle with the Mandalorian Disney Gallery. But first, it's finally happened for the third time. We have yet again another trailer and release date for Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. The new release date is slated for spring of 2022. That's next year. And the reaction to this trailer has been mostly positive from what I've seen. But I will note there are a lot of people who are still kind of uncertain about the game due to the constant delays, which is fair. So I'm going to give this question to you first, Goldman, because I know me and you are really looking forward to this game. What'd you think about the trailer?
The trailer itself felt like it was no different than the one that came out last year. I saw these posts on Twitter where it was like the very first teaser that came out in like 2018. It showed coming 2020. Then the next one coming spring 2021. Now coming spring 2022. But it's coming out, and I only refer to this game as future game of the year because that's what it's going to be. I'm just so excited. I don't know. I'm such a Star Wars shill, and I love Legos. So Lego games just make me happy. Like the new Lego movies, I think they're just so cute and funny. So like it just puts a smile on my face. This is a guaranteed smile on my face. So this is just a confirmation that the game is still coming out. It's not getting canceled. And I love how they included Luke's line from The Last Jedi in the trailer. So yeah, I enjoyed the trailer. I mean, it didn't really reveal anything special. They did show us the map of all the planets. And like in the trailer, it showed like question marks on a few planets. Yeah. And on Reddit, people were filling out like based off the galactic map and the planets that were in the movies, like which planet was missing and stuff. I'm just excited, man. I'm so excited. I was disappointed to see it was coming out in 2022 in the spring. It'll probably be like April or May or something. Yeah, I'm excited. Future game of the year.
I feel like the release date isn't as bad as we were joking around with the Chatooine episode we did last week. I think I said that it would release in like December of 2022 or something like that. Just something
that'd be awful.
Yeah, something asinine. I don't know. Coming out in spring isn't bad. Do you guys think it's going to release on May 4th? I feel like that would be a good day for it. I feel like right before the Star Wars Celebration, this is a good time to release a big game like this.
I wouldn't be surprised if it depends, because I think one of the shows will probably premiere on May the 4th. I mean, they've done that the past 2 years. Well, the Bad Batch premiered this year, and then the year before that, I think the finale of the Clone Wars came out on May the 4th. I think so. But so yeah, right. Either if they don't release a show on May the 4th, then I could see them doing this game. But I think it's more likely we get a show.
What do you think about it, Alpha Memes?
I enjoyed it. I love how they continuously just throw in a sequel trilogy trailer music. Like the first one was the Rise of Skywalker trailer music, and then this one was the Force Awakens I think teaser trailer. I love how they just throw that in there, and it's like it's always gonna make the most epic trailer. I'm excited. It looks like it's got something for everyone. You got something for the OT fans, the prequel fans, and the sequel fans, and then of course those who are all fans of all three. And my favorite aspect is I can't wait to see what the sort of open world aspect of it is. And that's open world is a Star Wars game I've always wanted. Of course, we're going to get that. But with Lego, because of it's Lego, you can do so many planets and stuff because they don't have to spend so much time making all the fine details like in a Grand Theft Auto type game, level of detail and stuff. So I'm excited to see that. I love if you guys have seen those articles and stuff where they compared the same shots from the old trailer to the new one. You definitely see a much updated version in terms of animation and textures and detail. So it's cool to see the game actually updating and stuff through time. But I'm excited. I'm definitely probably going to pre-order this. So, yeah.
Longo, will you pre-order this? You've been hating on it. You've been hating on it for a while. Has this trailer done anything to change it?
No.
Oh, man.
No, not really. It's again. It sounds bad because I don't want to like make it sound like I hate on Lego because Lego is cute, like Goldman said. It is. I like some Lego stuff. You know, the Lego Batman does make me laugh. I do enjoy Lego Batman, and mostly because it's Will Arnett, and he just makes me laugh. Batman, the way he does it. The Lego Movie, which was its own little universe, even though it had cameos from all these different characters, but it's the Lego universe. You know, this is being set in the Star Wars universe. I don't care if you say it's not canon, Goldman. It's still in the Star Wars universe, and it just it annoys me.
I find that surprising because for me, like this is it's nostalgic for me for sure. I grew up with the original Lego Star Wars games, and as someone who doesn't like the sequels, I'm not really looking forward to playing those that much in this game. But I'm definitely interested in playing the prequels again. The original trilogy is always my favorite out of the Lego Star Wars games, and seeing them remaster it in the way they're doing it, this feels like a big game. Like it feels like a huge game that I don't understand the scope of it just yet. And like, look at that, you can play as Yaddle. Isn't that cool? You can play as Yaddle. Like, how many games in Star Wars have you been able to play as her? Come on.
No.
That's fair.
I can't wait. I can't wait until when you complete all the missions, you can do like the custom characters, and then I want to play as Jar Jar in the last mission of Episode 9, where you take down Palpatine. And
Yes.
what
Oh
is
God.
Yes.
I'm gonna create a character and I'm gonna
Snot.
play as Lunga. I'm gonna make Lunga a
Oh, there you
character. Yeah. I'm just turning into
That
a
makes me
character.
laugh. It's funny you say that because my one friend John, Nerd Reactor, when they were playing Red Dead Redemption, he named his horse Lunga. I'm like, thanks, appreciate it.
Oh my
question?
God.
Do you guys think Claude will be a character in this game?
No.
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 I think he'll make an appearance. I don't think he'll be a playable character.
Yeah.
Although it'd be interesting if you can use his like aspects of him to create your own character. Like just throw Claude's head on.
He is a pivotal character in the light speed skipping scene. I don't get how they can't include him.
He is.
Sure.
He does have the important role. I guess I can't dispute that, Goldman.
I don't think he's that important that he's going to be featured. I feel like
We
he
got
was better-
Yaddle. Okay, if they got Yaddle, we got Claude. Yaddle just sat in a chair and.
Yeah, Claude did more. Claude actually had lines.
Exactly.
He went, "Wow."
No,
Exactly.
I think we're more likely to get Babu Frick from Rise of Skywalker than we are
Definitely.
to get Claude. As much
Well,
as
if I get
like
to
the
run
guy.
around as Babu, yes.
Hey,
Yes.
that motherfucker's cute.
I wonder if they'll have like emotes and stuff in this game. Actually thinking about it.
Oh my god.
And yeah,
emotes.
yeah, Babu. That's it. I'm done. Pre-order.
For a second,
Gold
I
edition.
thought you said emos, and I was like, emos? Like,
Build your own emo Ren character.
I need Lego characters Fortnite dancing in my game. That would
boy. All
that
right.
would sell it to me.
It's time for you to go, Goldman. It's time. Yeah, you're off.
I would turn the game. I would do what Lunga does and just avoid it. Do you guys think the delays are going to affect sales for this game at all? Because it's been delayed 3 times now. It was delayed from 2020 to I think they gave us it was like October 2nd of 2020 is when it was supposed to release, like very early in October, and then they delayed it to I think spring of 2021. Come spring, they say like, oh, we got to delay it again, and they gave us like I think it was like indefinitely, and now we have a spring 2022 release date. There's been some hesitancy from a lot of people who maybe were into the game but aren't anymore. Do you guys think that they're going to come back into this? Is this enough to get you engaged if you weren't engaged before? Clearly not for Lunga, but maybe people who are more skeptical. I don't know.
Who's gonna go?
I don't know. It does it again. I'm not like big in the video game like space. Like, does it happen where just the fact that games are delayed that turns people off from the game? Does that happen?
It depends on what the final release is, because I think for me, I'm like in the end, I'm a very impatient person, but for this, I'm very happy that it's being delayed, simply for the fact that means they're really taking their time on this and they want to release a fully finished product and stuff. Which you look at EA's track record, it didn't work out so well for them. So I understand the complaints of it being delayed, but in my mind, I'd rather wait 2 years and get a extremely well fleshed out game that's like 10 times bigger, probably not 10 times, but much larger in terms of content and stuff because of the delays, and they smoothed everything out to where you play this game, it's a finished quality product, and you don't have to wait for 5,000 updates for it to get smoothed out. I think most people will see that once the gameplay gets released. I hope it's not like what's that one game that took like 3,000 years to make? Not
Anthem?
Fallout. No, the new one. Cyberpunk, yeah, and then it finally came out. It was just a complete mess. I hope if it's
you're
not like
talking about
that.
this game like it's EVE Online, like it's this
I
big
know it's not gonna,
MMO that's gonna span the universe. It's like
right. But
Well,
I
yeah,
do
you
think in
don't-
the
you
long
don't
run it'll be
understand how
worth it.
big these Lego Star Wars games, man. It's for everybody, family friendly. It's got to reach all the levels. I know.
oh, like the Bad Batch.
Oh boy.
Yeah, no, the
Back to the Bad Batch.
definitely. See, the Bad
I thought we were
Batch
done
is-
with that, Lugga.
the Bad Batch sucks in the sense that you can't play anything about it. You can't do any. It's not a video game. This is cute. I think people are gonna at least semi enjoy this. I do think there's a thing called not overhyping something, but marketing something for too long. And I feel like this game is gonna suffer from that. It's been marketed since like 2019, and it's not coming out until like 3 to 4 years later. So I feel like certain people are gonna be like, oh, it's finally out, and then by the time it releases, they're like, I don't care. I mean, we see this with movies, and I can't think of like a recent example, to be honest, but there have been movies in the past where I would argue this with Black Widow, where like Black Widow was marketed for so long and talked about for so long. By the time it actually came out, you'd seen so much of the movie through the trailers. It was just like, okay, like, you're just kind of tired of it already. Like any interest I had in the movie died out within the first year of marketing. By the second and third, it was like, I really don't care. So I hope that doesn't happen with this game, because it looks promising to me. And I'm not as cynical about it as Lunga, of course, because I don't love Lego, but I think this is always fun. But I have no idea how this is gonna bode with the Star Wars fans.
I don't think it'll be that bad because like Black Widow, like I'm not super into Marvel, but I know that Black Widow's just kind of like a random spin-off film, right? If I'm correct on that.
Well, it's basically like in between.
Yeah,
sets up
Ultron
characters.
or Civil War. And
true. It's not like
Endgame.
I guess I'd compare it like this Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga game is something that all like virtually every Star Wars fan wants in terms of like Star Wars gaming fans. So this would be like if they like delayed Infinity War Endgame by a couple years. That hype level would still be there, in my opinion, for the most part. And so I can't see it dying off that much. Just a few years is a long time, but once it's finally comes and you start seeing how much content is in it, I think people are gonna immediately get back hooked onto it. So
And once it wins Game of the Year.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
you're all for that.
I'm sure it will. I wonder what's going to win Game of the Year because I think The Last of Us 2 beat that Ghost of Tsushima that everybody was upset about.
Yeah.
Who knows at this point? Well, that's all I have to say about the Lego Star Wars game. Next thing I want to talk about was a report that came from the good guys at LRM Online. They said that Cad Bane is going to be one of the many cameos that we have in the Book of Boba. He had a recent appearance on the Bad Batch series, and there was a deleted scene about Cad Bane taking on Boba, where they like shot each other in the head, and that's where those marks came from, and Boba Fett's helmet, and I think where the fuck Cad Bane has on his head. So this question, I'm going to give this to you, Lunga, first. How does Cad Bane fit into the Book of Boba? Does this work for you?
Yeah, I mean it does because it's going to revolve around bounty hunters, right? And the underworld, basically. He took over Jabba's, right? So yeah, this fits. I could see it. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I kind of said this about Cassian Andor. Maybe that's gonna be more like it. And that's another thing I'm wondering too, how much if this is gonna tie into Cass. Well, no, that's in the past. But it could be like Cassian Andor and this can both be a mixture of that underworld show that were supposed to be done and was never done. You know what I mean? So I think we'll get a little bit of both. This one's gonna be still more of the Mandalorian feel like that, but yeah, bounty hunters being there, Cad Bane, of course. I think it's a perfect fit actually. Better than him showing up randomly in freaking Bad Batch.
Here we go again. Here's
on.
Lunga.
I mean, I like seeing him, but
No, you're right. He showed up and then he's gone for the rest of the season. I'm like,
yeah,
what was the point?
Yeah, and then you got his ass kicked by Fennec Shand, and like,
and he is the one who
having
put
a
the
bad day at
dent.
work.
He's the one who put the dent in Boba's helmet. So
Yeah.
it fits.
Yeah, what do you guys think about it? Goldman Palp memes? Are you okay with Cad Bane showing up? Does this intrigue you at all?
I mean, I'm not a big fan of just like cameos, but at this point, I've come to accept that's probably going to happen with a lot of characters. So I mean, I've never been a big Cad Bane fan. I mean, is he cool? Sure, but just looking and sounding cool isn't enough to get me excited. Like when he showed up in the Bad Batch, I was like, oh, that's cool music, I guess. And in this, I mean, it's much longer too. I mean, the Bad Batch is the furthest we've seen him in the chronology of Star Wars, so it's a pretty big jump. I love how certain characters don't age at all, like Bo-Katan from Clone Wars to Mandalorian, and then there's characters like Obi-Wan or Owen and Beru who age like 50 years and 20 years. So I mean, no like strong opinions. I mean, will I be excited to see him? No. Will I be punching a wall if I see him? No. I'm just like, okay. I hope it. I just hope it's not like a new cameo every episode. Like if he shows up, cool. I just don't want these characters to take away from Boba Fett.
It's a similar complaint and thing that we were thinking going into Mando season 2. They surprisingly pulled it off, and
They did.
Goldman, you already know if you're not a fan of cameos, well, we have bad news for you for Book of Boba. Next week we'll talk about 2 characters that we learned that are going to be in the series and how people are going to feel about that. But Palp Memes, what do you feel about Cad Bane being in the Book of Boba?
I'm kind of on the same page as Goldman. I know Cad Bane's a loved character, a bounty hunter and stuff, but to me, he's just kind of like all the other bounty hunters. Pretty badass. He does cool things. That's about it. But like, I also agree with you, Lunga. It makes sense. It's a bounty hunter show. It makes sense. My only kind of wish is that the cameos, which is obviously just gonna be a bunch of this. My only wish is that they help grow Boba Fett because we talk about Cad Bane's just kind of a character that just kind of does cool things, but so was Boba Fett. And then they brought him back for Mando, which he was cool in, but that's about it. I just hope that this episode, I don't care if they put 1,000 cameos in it, I just hope we actually get some character development and some depth when it comes to the character of Boba Fett. That's just my only expectation and wish from Jon Favreau and the team over there making the show. So yeah, I'm just kind of like, I'm not gonna be upset about it, obviously. I'm not like super hyped or anything because I've never like really cared for the bounty hunter. But it doesn't surprise me. I think it'll work, definitely work for the whole premise of the show. So
I'm kind of confused on like where Cad Bane's gonna fit into this because Jesus, he's old, right? Like how old do what is the species called? It starts with
The
a T.
Duros.
Duros. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was gonna say something different. But how long did the Duros normally live? Because he seems seasoned enough by the time of the Clone Wars. So adding another 30, 35 years on top of that, like I feel like the rivalry that he had with Boba maybe has faded so much by then. I really am curious how he's going to work with Boba. Do you guys think he's going to be like an enemy of him, or is he going to be someone he teams up with? Because he's going to add a lot to the show in terms of dynamic. He really does kind of steal the spotlight in Clone Wars, and he's always a character who has a lot of authority to what he says. And even Count Dooku would let Cad Bane kind of talk shit to him, and even Darth Sidious, and it was just because they understood that this guy always did his job and he was great at it, and so you just kind of accept him for who he was. He could be a really big threat in Book of Boba. Do you think he's going to be a threat against Boba, or do you think he's going to be a threat against like the New Republic or the Empire?
It's funny because now that you bring that up, I've never really thought about what the plot of the show would be. I mean, we kind of assume it'll have to do with him taking over like the Hutt cartel, because that's how they teased it off at the end of The Mandalorian. So, like, is the plot going to be like other bounty hunters are going to come to like take his throne? That sounds interesting. I would prefer Cad Bane to be an antagonist, just because I don't know, just because I can't picture who would they be fighting. Like, are they going to be fighting the Empire? So I'd rather that not happen. I don't want the Empire in everything. So I would prefer him to be an antagonist, and maybe Boba Fett goes against him and some of the other bounty hunters that we saw in The Empire Strikes Back.
I think maybe like the First Order hires him. First Order hires Cad Bane, or maybe a former remnant of the Empire. Because I feel like they're going to have him as an enemy of Boba. I don't think they can work together. I feel like because of what we've seen with them already and what we know that happened in those deleted scenes for the Clone Wars, I feel like Cad Bane would serve as a great villain or an anti-hero in the Book of Boba. Because we got to like Boba somehow. I don't know how they're going to pull off Boba being a character for this entire series, but they have to do it somehow. Lungo, what do you think? Where does Cad Bane fit into this story-wise?
I mean, I would say I don't think him and Boba can be friends just because they had that rivalry. You know what I mean? And Cad Bane's the only one who like thrashed him, basically. Give him a little whooping. So I don't see him necessarily working that way. However, the Boba we saw in Mandalorian seems to be more of this. While he's still driven to do what he wants to do, and he has his revengeful things, I could see it turning out to, we got a rivalry, or have another face-off, and then it's like, we got something to deal with. Let's work together.
Oh, God, they're so old now. It's two old guys still beefing.
And Duros, by the way, age the same as humans, so there's no long-livedness with their species. They're usually that 70 to 90 year age range.
So how do you think he's gonna look? Do you think the live action look is gonna do well for Cad Bane?
Yeah, I mean his skin was wrinkly. He had a lot of face lines already. His forehead has 30 lines in it, whatever the case is. And his jowls kind of droop already. So I mean, the alien looks like it could be old already just from the begin with. So I don't think they're gonna do much. Maybe give him a few scars or something.
Actually, I'm actually curious now, because do you think they'll just like have an actual human just paint his face blue and give him like red contacts?
No, he has
no, because that's too much
face.
like
exactly. So
like
like
a Tarkin.
So are the is he gonna be?
He's not a chiss.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So is he? So yeah, obviously they'll have to change a little bit more. So I don't know. Will it be like a CGI face? Or maybe they do like a practical thing.
No, I think they're gonna do what they did with Newt Gunray and the other guys from the Trade Federation and the Phantom Menace. Have it like a face, but it's an alien face, but it's like an animatronic that they use. That's the route that I personally see them going with, at least Cad Bane.
That makes sense, yeah. I guess it all depends on how much action he does. Because, again, he's going to be really old, so I don't know if he'll do that much, honestly. Yeah, might be a little goofy seeing Seeing a really old man doing front flips around things.
I'm curious how old he is by the time of the Clone Wars.
Because he has a
Time to
lot of
pull up
expressions
Wikipedia.
in his face.
Yeah.
So he is. Says he was born in 62 BBY. 17 being in his early 70s during the Book of
Jesus
Boba Fett.
Christ.
Which, according to the age thing on the one site I looked up, it's not considered venerable yet. But
He's on
old.
life support.
It's old. It's old. So I guess you could say that's like someone, like for humans, like in their 60s.
Okay.
Starts to deteriorate.
He's a spry 70. You know.
Yeah.
He probably stays in shape.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I'm really curious on his financial situation at this point. I mean, he's been in the game for so long, and if you're telling me that he's coming back to do more missions, I'm really, I don't know, weirded out by that. I'm excited that there's going to be a lot of bounty hunters in this. Shout out to Valkyrie King. Thank you for the super chat. Says everyone talking about Cad Bane. What about Bosk in it? I think it's been confirmed that Bosk is going to be in it. Like,
I would love to see Bosk.
That's where like the cameo stuff may become a kind of a hesitation for people who are critical of that. Where we're going to get Bosk in this. We're going to get Cad Bane. We also are going to get Din Djarin close to the end of the series, and we all know like the other two characters that we're going to talk about next week that are going to show up in the series. Like that's 5 cameos right there, and
We'll definitely get more.
Oh yeah.
By the way, if you noticed in the books and other stuff, they've been using Trandoshans a lot lately. They're like everywhere.
Yeah.
In the newer stuff.
Isn't Skier Trandoshan from the High Republic?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think they're trying to make this, for lack of better terms, of diversified in terms of the species that we see. It's not just all going to be humans and humanoid stuff. So I can see them changing things up. I really hope we don't have like one-off cameos like we had with the Mandalorian, where like Boba's like, I need this guy for a mission. Who do I hire? And then it's Bosk. And then the next one, he's like, all right, well, now I need this mission done, but only the best of the best can do it. And I'm going to do it. I can't do it. Let's get Cad Bane in here. And then he brings in Din Djarin for something else that he needs. Like, I really hope that one of the best things about the Clone Wars was the bounty hunter arc, where Obi-Wan had to work with Cad Bane and other bounty hunters to do like, I think 3 or 4 episodes of him just trying to figure out what they're doing and working with the Separatists. I hope we kind of get something like that with this, where it's almost like a heist movie, where maybe like 2 or 3 episodes are just an arc built on a certain mission that they're doing, and
I don't think so.
Mistakes or that they're in. Yeah, what do you guys think the series is going to be about? Because it's supposed to be season 2.5 of The Mandalorian, but what does that even mean? Is that going to continue the Mandalore arc? Is that going to continue the galaxy-wide state of affairs, or is this just going to be primarily on the underground criminal world?
Yeah, I think it's him solidifying his power as taking over for Jabba. Well, not technically Jabba. It was what's his face?
Bib Fortuna.
Bib Fortuna. But I think it's him solidifying and shoring up his power as the new, kingpin of the underworld. I think that's gonna be. And as far as my Cad Bane prediction of how it's gonna be, it's not gonna be who do I need to get? I literally think Cad Bane is on a bounty and he comes back to talk to Bib and he's like, "Oh, hey,
you're dead.
you're still alive." And that's, I think, how it's gonna start with them too. But we'll see.
Again, I mentioned that earlier. I don't really know what the plot could be. I don't think it's going to be tied into like the Mandalore arc or fighting the Empire. The way I kind of see it is kind of like all these shows are like different characters from Game of Thrones, where they all have their own storylines, and then at some point they're all going to come together for some reason. So I don't think like Boba Fett can do his own thing, take over the underworld, maybe make some alliances with other bounty hunters, and that's the season. It's really badass. You get a lot of action. That's what I would see. But I think Star Wars, only what you said earlier about you didn't want it to be like episodic in the sense where like one episode he needs help, he gets this bounty hunter. The next episode he needs help, they'll get this bounty hunter. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like that, because if you look at the second season of The Mandalorian, it was in a sense really repetitive, at least in like the first 6 episodes. It was Mando needed something, and in order to get it, he needed to do a job for someone. He had to do that for Cobb Vanth. He had to deliver the frog lady to that one planet. He had to help Bo-Katan raid the ship. He had to help Gina Carano and Greef Karga attack the Imperial facility. He had to help Ahsoka take over or retake the city or the little town. So I guess by the 6th episode, that's when that formula was broken. And then even in the 7th episode, they needed to get the location of Grogu, so they got Bill Burr. So it is a little repetitive. It worked though. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Book of Boba Fett was repetitive in that nature.
Yeah, but would it work a second time is the problem. I really don't feel like...
Wait and see.
I don't think fans would be on board with that. And the way Robert Rodriguez has been talking about this, saying that it's going to be like mind-blowing and very over the top, I don't feel like following that same formula the Mandalorian is going to be able to do that. I feel like the Mandalorian season 2 had a very slow burn. Like it just kind of kept building and building and building, like to this big grand finale that was amazing and epic. And I think Book of Boba is going to come out kind of full swing. I feel like the first episode is going to be big, and then it's going to kind of fade away. And then probably in the last 2 episodes, they'll bring in Din Djarin and have it really connect with the Mandalorian in some way. I do agree what you said earlier, that it's going to connect, and I'm kind of curious on what their Avengers Endgame moment is going to be, connecting all of these shows. Like if it's going to have like 2 shows have a big merging moment, and then 3 shows maybe later on, and then all shows in 4 or 5 years. We have an interesting road ahead of us with these Star Wars series. I just don't want them to be repetitive and cameos only.
The end game is definitely going to be Heir to the Empire, or a version of it.
Would that be a movie or would that be a series? Though?
I think it would be. I think it'd be a series. Like one season. That's like the end.
I think it depends on how much is built up from that already. Like how much content they need for that, because like a movie is like 2.5 hours long. It's like how much content can you put in that compared to we can make this a 10-episode show. I guess it depends on where the ending of the whole Mando-verse ends before the movie or whatever it would be, before it all comes together.
It could be a movie if it was the 2027 movie, because I mean Rogue Squadron, I doubt that's going to be the
could you imagine
culmination of everything.
Oh, God.
That'd be actually insane.
It could be Taika's movie, but didn't they say Taika was going to do new thing, like something different with new characters?
It's going to be wild, according to I can't.
Yeah, so I don't see that being the culmination event either, and I don't think they're going to announce like a new movie in 2024 or anything. Like I think it's going to be 23, 25, and 27, and that's it for until then. So it could be 2027 if they want to keep the Mando-verse going for another 6 years. It's not that long if you think about it, compared to like the MCU that went on for 10 years before Endgame.
Yeah,
technically 11.
I think it'd be cool for it to culminate to a movie. I think that'd be. I mean, I'd love that. I love that idea. It's just the execution. Is it like a thing where I'm gonna want to go back a year from now and rewatch these shows, or is it gonna be like, oh my gosh, these shows just dragged on for so long and there's so much repetitiveness in terms of the story and content and what happens. That's my biggest issue. Is I think we were talking about Book of Boba, how much I guess the whole filler aspect of it. And I think there's going to be like 3 episodes where we're just like, oh my gosh, that was insane. And then the rest of is there 8 episodes total? So the other 5 or whatever. I think that the 5 are just going to be like he meets up with Cad Bane or whoever. They do a little mission and then they tease what the next episode will kind of be about. And I hate that, but I think that might be the route it goes. So I think what they're talking about, how it's going to be absolutely insane. I think there's going to be like 3 episodes, probably at the very end. Back to back, where it's like finally we're getting into this, kind of like Bad Batch had all these episodes where it's like you really didn't have to watch them at all and you wouldn't miss anything. I hope that's not the case, but it's kind of how I'm leaning with how many cameos and stuff are already being sort of.
I'll take a bold guess here. I'm going to say that the Heir to the Empire thing is going to be a trilogy of films directed and written by Rian Johnson. Just to piss everybody
off. He, as much as I would love that, he said he was doing new characters. Don't forget.
He said he wants to. These are new characters now. He
they could change
their path. Don't you think Lucasfilm has learned a lesson about giving Rian Johnson pre-existing characters?
That's a good point.
You know what's going to happen, though, is at the end of this season of the Book of Boba Fett, Fennec Shand, and some other bounty hunters are going to be trapped. And then the new bounty hunter is going to show up. And we won't know who it is, and the character is going to take off the mask. It's going to be an older Omega.
Oh my God! I think.
Did you have to say that?
I did. Did
you have to say that?
I did have to say that.
Come on.
I would actually burst out laughing.
I would like that in an ironic way. I'd be like, oh, the internet's gonna. Oh, I can't wait to see.
I would message Sloan right away. Omega's not that hated though, so I don't think it would piss people off.
That's true. Yeah, it's like she was hated like when she was like revealed, but then as the show went on, it's like people pretty much like her a lot. But that would be pretty funny, actually.
Maybe it's the Bad Batch who shows up at the end. That would that pissed me off. But
5 Tamora Morrisons.
yeah, oh god, and they'd be talking to another Tamora Morrison because it would be Boba somehow, some way.
You should get paid for playing like 5 different characters. 6 if you include Boba Fett.
Yep.
I wonder how much Bradley Baker gets paid for the Bad Batch voices. Like, does he make bank over there?
Probably.
Yeah. Well, if you guys didn't check it out, I'm pretty sure all 4 of us, we all watched the new Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
All right. Well, as you all know, clearly the most common conspiracy theory was pretty much debunked. This episode was good. It's on the Disney Gallery of The Mandalorian. It's a series of documentaries on the creation of the Mandalorian show, and this episode was entirely about Luke Skywalker from the final episode of season 2. And in this episode, we learned everything that went into that scene. They even acknowledged the leaks for the second season. And Jon Favreau, I'm not going to say it fell out of left field, but they really did like a dedicated segment about Kathleen Kennedy in this episode. And it was just praising her for the impact and collaboration that she had on The Mandalorian. I'll give this first question to you, Palp Memes. What did you think about this most recent Disney Gallery episode?
It was awesome. I loved how they showed all the different techniques and stuff they attempted to use and everything. I love seeing the Mark Hamill lookalike, Max Lloyd. I was talking with my good friend. I was like, they should have just used him. He looks just like him in certain angles and stuff. But no, I loved it. It was really fun. But yeah, that whole Jon Favreau part, I'm like, yeah, this is what all the normal people in the fandom have been saying. And I can't wait to see when people start saying, which they've already said, is that Favreau was forced to say that, you know. But I really enjoyed the episode. I did a watch party on my channel and stuff. We watched it, and I had a really good time. Luke Skywalker's my favorite character, and so just seeing how they created it, seeing Mark Hamill. I love how they just went to his house with the child.
Why are you lying?
Jedi.
I didn't see you put up a billboard about Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, because we're already going to get a Luke Skywalker show. Come on. We got 6 movies of him. Come on. Well, 5. You don't really count Force Awakens, but no, it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. It's something I'm definitely going to watch again. It was inspiring to see too, as content creators. It's really inspiring to see that passion that these filmmakers and stuff have. It's like, man, they just put their all into it, and I had a great time watching it.
Longa, did you like it?
I mean, I did like those things, but it's like it's starting to get like these behind the scenes things are starting to get like a little too much for me. It's like, okay, how many of these do I need to see? It was cool when like a Mandalorian first came out and stuff, and now I'm like, meh, you know. And it was in this one too. Isn't this the same one where Filoni was talking about Ahsoka and how she's actually?
Oh boy.
Yeah,
right.
She's
Yeah.
That she has more experience than Luke.
But this is a no-brainer for me. I don't understand why people even get upset. It's yeah, she was a Jedi and had full training as a Padawan. I mean, why?
By the chosen one.
Everybody prior to Order 66 is going to be a better saber duelist than Luke.
Yeah, it's not even. He didn't even say that she was like better than him or anything. That's where it's really weird. It's like he just made an obvious fact. He just said like, hey, like Ahsoka's been training longer than he has, so she does things different. And people were like, oh, he said she's better. I'm like, no, he didn't. Like, she's not better than Luke. And if you think that she is, and that's also fine. Stan Lee talked about this years ago about when it comes to characters fighting. The writer picks who wins, so it really doesn't fucking matter who we think is going to win or not. It's
whoever the writer wants, like
whatever
fits to the story.
I do agree with you, Lunga, about not feeling like I needed at least this episode of the Disney Gallery. I was kind of surprisingly disappointed with this. I didn't even make a review on it for the channel because I looked at it and I was like, well, how much is there really to talk about? Like, on all actuality, they just covered a 2-minute scene at the end of the series. Which
it was all revolving around Hamill. It was fan service, right? It's what it was. It was fan service to bring in the people that love the old OG trilogy and make them happy with Disney. Because look, Mark Hamill, we're doing this whole thing about him and
badass.
And it's like, but how much? I mean, was it that interesting? Oh yeah, they talked to me, and then I couldn't talk about it for 17 months. And it's like, I mean, what? I mean, did we learn anything new other than like the actual actor that was behind? I mean, that's like, you know.
Yeah, we learned about the technology and the AI that went into it, and it's like that stuff on itself is fine. Like if I got like maybe 20 minutes of that, but okay, like that was kind of cool to learn about. But I mean, they there's more that went into this episode. Like the Luke Skywalker segment is literally like the last 5 minutes of it, and they didn't go over like the robots, the Death Trooper things that were attacking them. They didn't go over Giancarlo Esposito's parts in this.
It's like doing a behind the scenes of Rogue One and just talking about the Vader hallway scene.
Gosh, yeah.
That is literally what this was. Like I can like, could you imagine if Lucasfilm even did that? They're like, hey, we know you've been wanting a behind the scenes for Rogue One for years. We finally released it, and it's just an hour-long documentary on the fucking hallway scene. You'd be like, this isn't what I wanted. This is not at all what I wanted. I was kind of disappointed by that aspect. Goldman, we haven't gotten your take on it. What did you think about this most recent episode?
I would say it was good. I enjoyed it. Would I watch it again? No. For me, I have like different tiers of what I want from these documentaries. Like the worst documentary you can get is the one that The Force Awakens made, where it's just people praising it the whole time. They're like, oh, it was so magical working for Star Wars. And like everyone was so excited. There was no problems behind the scenes. Harrison Ford did not break his leg on the Falcon or anything. Everything was great. That's like the worst case scenario. Mm-hmm. The best case scenario is you get documentaries like there was the ones for the Phantom Menace, the original trilogy one, and the Last Jedi one, where they actually talk about a lot of the disagreements, a lot of the problems that went on. Those documentaries are great because they feel real. This one's somewhere in the middle because they did teach us, show us a lot of things, like the behind the scenes of like they talked about the Plo Koon thing, which was funny. Even though in the back of my mind, I was like, why would people believe this? Plo Koon died in Revenge of the Sith, but
somehow Plo returned.
Somehow Plo Koon.
If Palpatine can do it, Plo Koon can do it. All right.
Yes. It was neat seeing some of like the Mark Hamill's thoughts on it and how they really. One thing I did like was how Jon Favreau was like, everyone knew Ahsoka was going to be in it. Everyone knew Boba Fett was going to be in it. We just really wanted to keep Luke's appearance a secret. So I like how they were self-aware about that. And they're like, yeah, leaks happen, but we really just wanted to keep this one leak a secret. So, I mean, I enjoyed it. Would I watch it again? Not anytime soon. I didn't learn anything new. One thing I really wanted was to somehow just like connect it to The Last Jedi because I'm just such a shill and I'm so toxic for this kind of stuff. But they didn't. They mentioned it briefly, but that was it. So yeah, it was fine. It was a neat documentary. I probably wouldn't watch it again anytime soon.
Well, of course, the best and most controversial part of it was Jon Favreau praising Kathleen Kennedy for kind of a minute, just talking about like the work and how like great she is. In our opinion, I think most of us would say that completely dispels the idea that there is a Lucasfilm Civil War going on. But of course, a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, well, he wouldn't be talking bad about her on a Disney special, or he's being paid to say that." What did you guys think about his statement, and do you guys think that's going to do anything going forward for the Lucasfilm Civil War narrative?
Who wants? You want me to go?
The Lucasfilm Civil War narrative. It's just like, I think we're doing a disservice to this fandom by keep on like talking about it, because yes, there's a certain section of the fan base that really believes it, or I think they want to believe it so bad. I honestly think a lot of these people know it's not true. Might there have been some disagreements about things? Sure. Is there a chance Jon Favreau came out and he's like, went to Kathleen Kennedy, he's like, listen, I'm not a big fan of The Rise of Skywalker. Sure, that could have happened, but it's not like Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Favreau are out here fighting each other. So I'm not surprised that he said something like this. And there's a lot of self-aware things they said. Like they began the documentary by talking about how important it is that they respect the fans and how they respect the legacy that George Lucas created. You know, it's like the reason why a lot of people don't like the sequels is because it disrespected George Lucas. So like I think they're very aware of the things that they need to say to like make certain fans happy. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they purposely said we're gonna have a segment praising Kathleen Kennedy, just so we can get rid of any drama. But
I like what you said about the self-awareness thing. I do feel like Lucasfilm has been doing that since probably 2018.
Since last year, definitely.
Yeah, it feels like they've reined in on the employees talking shit on Twitter, kind of sending messages to the fans and like almost understanding the fans a little better. Do you see that at all, Longa? Do you feel like Lucasfilm's become more self-aware, and do you feel like this Kathleen Kennedy bit in the recent episode was like intentional, that they were like, all right, we got to put this to bed?
Yeah. They are. I know it's not going to win over, you know, the most adamant people, obviously, but they are definitely looking like they're trying to like be more inclusive with all Star Wars fans rather than alienating them. While I do believe a lot of the rhetoric from the Phantom Menace about respect the fans and they're doing it is really overblown. It's like they don't have to respect you. George Lucas didn't give a fuck about you.
Exactly.
I was gonna say
Fuck
George
fans.
talks shit on the fans
Right,
a
exactly.
lot.
Right. But at the same time, I think they do recognize that that's not going to help if they're antagonizing fans as well. Especially when they have certain like Pablo Hidalgo or certain people that are just poking the bear purposely. It's like, how are you helping Star Wars? I mean, is your goal to say and I know that some people have said this. It's like, you know what? No, we don't want them in the fandom. You know how much money you're going to lose. You do want, if you're a business, you do want them in the fandom.
Yes.
Sorry.
Mhm.
Okay.
Those are the fans that really make you like the merchandise
Right.
sales and all that.
Right. They're the ones that make you the money. They're the ones that got you here. Sorry, Disney. I know you think you're Disney. They didn't get you here. But they're the ones that made Lucasfilm worth your while to spend $4 billion on it. So, they got to take into account. I think they are trying to. I'm not going to call it an olive branch. It almost seems like one of those little animal traps with the little box and the stick, and they got like little food in there. Like, come on, come on. They're gonna pull a string, and it's gonna be ha sequels all day. But
Pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
That food is Luke Skywalker, and the trap is the Mandalorian, and the merchandise with Grogu. I'm curious about Doomcock. Honestly, has he said anything about this since?
Yeah, he made a
this last
video saying that Kathleen Kennedy was rehired or some BS like that. It just makes me laugh. I'm
He's
like,
still insisting, yeah.
yeah, it's like, it's very clear in a way, like in a very ironic way. I very much respect him because he stays so true to himself in his own words. He's like, no, I am not backing down. I am standing my ground. It bugs me on how many people still believe him and stuff. But I thought that segment with Kathleen Kennedy, I'm sure, like, I agree with you guys. I'm sure they're like, hey, we really need to put this to bed. We need to talk about how you guys truly feel about this person, because apparently people think she's like a demonic thing or whatever. And Jon Favreau hates her, and it's like, it makes sense. Like, Kathleen is the reason the greatest Star Wars thing to happen since the OT, according to a lot of people, happened, is because of Kathleen freaking Kennedy.
Last Jedi.
Rise. No, but after hearing it, I'm like, yeah, that's great to hear, but the only ones who are going to believe it are those who never believed that whole idea in the first place. I'm sorry, people. It's like that whole, like, that canon thing or whatever you call that. It's like people get they just dig a hole so deep for themselves in their own mental mindset that no matter what facts or evidence come out against them, they will still be blocked in that chain. And so when I heard it, I was like, okay, yeah, it's nice, but people are still gonna bring up that BS, saying that there's a civil war and stuff, because they just it fits their narrative, fits their agenda, and they're just ignorant. But it's still nice to have that confirmation over a confirmation that, like, yeah, no, there's no civil war going on. Are there creative disagreements? Of course, that's literally going to happen in any movie, especially a trilogy or whatever you're making. It's always going to happen. But these are grown ass adults who have a grown mindset where, hey, you disagree with me, I'm not going to start fighting you because of that. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that now people are going to start realizing, okay, Kathleen Kennedy's here to stay. It's going to be a while before she probably even leaves. It seems like they had like backup plans for her in case she was planning on leaving. I know Jason Ward said in the last stream that we did that Michelle Rejwan was kind of like going to be the second pick, pretty much, if Kathleen Kennedy left, that she would have taken the mantle for a couple of years. Shout out to Charlie Spur, always paying the bills here, saying Revenge of the Sith not being your favorite movie is a war crime and a crime against humanity under the Geneva Convention. You're all under arrest by the United Nations.
That's right.
Yeah, sorry, it's not my favorite. I
Revenge of the Sith is an underrated masterpiece. Just accept it.
You shut your whore mouth, all right? You shut that. Unfortunately, that is an overrated comment nowadays that everyone says.
If everyone loves something, it's not underrated.
Well, we love it because of the memes. That's the big key.
I still enjoy that movie, but
I would have to say
it's not flawless. It's got
no, yeah.
I love it. It's my favorite Star. It's the first movie I saw in theaters before people start going after me. Right, Revenge of the Sith was the movie that I watched over and over again as a kid. But growing up, and I'm like, I rewatch it, and I've seen better movies. I'm like, it's got a lot of flaws, but I still enjoy it. I still love it for that. I have a lot of nostalgia for it. I'm pretty honest about that. It's mostly nostalgia, but.
You know what? I mean, when we're talking about Star Wars movies, though, you know, it's like after the original trilogy, it's fourth. It's Revenge of the
Yeah,
Sith
it's
is
up there.
fourth.
It's up there. It's definitely like it's one thing I appreciate about Revenge of the Sith, at least compared to the other prequels, is that I feel like Lucas understood at that point. All right, people aren't liking the Phantom Menace because it's political. People aren't liking Attack of the Clones because it's lovey-dovey. Let me just make a blockbuster. Let me just go all out on Star Wars action, and it seems like that really worked. I remember seeing Revenge of the Sith, and of course I was extremely young at the time, but it the reactions to that were a lot more positive, and people were like, "Yeah, this one was fun to watch." Revenge of the Sith is a very fun movie. I don't feel like that is applicable to Attack of the Clones. Phantom Menace kind of fun. I've grown more fond of Phantom Menace over the past couple years, but other than that, I think when people say I'm a big fan of the prequels, they largely mean they love Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. Like the amount of times I always get curious, like I'll go to random YouTube channels, like usually just movie reviewers, not like Star Wars channels, and like their rankings of the movies, and I'll just go to the comments and see what people say. It's most people have Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones like towards the bottom, like literally either 11 or 10, and then you get the occasional like really strong sequel hater in there. But usually it's episodes 1 and 2 that are at the bottom. But the amount of people that have Revenge of the Sith in their top 3 is way more than I could have ever imagined. So, yeah, I don't think you're wrong there.
It's I always debate on like where my top Star Wars movies are. It's always like original trilogy, and I think Lunga's right. It's always number 4. Revenge of the Sith is always number 4 for me, and after that, I put The Force Awakens, which I guess surprises some people, but I feel like all 5 of those movies, the original Star Wars movies, Revenge of the Sith, and The Force Awakens, all kind of on their own really capture Star Wars feel and the way of the storytelling. And I think if you literally erase episodes 1 and 2, you erased episodes 7 or not 7, 8 and 9, and Rogue One and Solo: A Star Wars Story, and you keep those 5 films, episodes 3 through 7, it's not bad, and it kind of gets the story in a really good way that at least I can look back fondly on. There's a lot of unique ways that people watch the Star Wars movies. There's like the machete order, I think. There's the chronological release order. There's so many different routes to do it, but I think if you just did those 4 or 5, you'll be okay.
People laugh though when because I think there's been more of the 11 movies. I think there's been more bad Star Wars movies than good ones. I'd say the only ones that I would classify as not bad would be episodes 4 through 8.
I think that's fair. Okay, I guess we can go round table on this before we end the show. Like, what do you consider a bad Star Wars movie? Because unfortunately, I feel like my list is going to be longer than all of you.
It depends. Like, bad's like a lot of people say like it's a good movie, but it's a bad Star Wars movie. Like,
that makes no sense to me. I've never understood that.
Revenge of the Sith is a movie I love watching. I can watch it. I can put it on any day and watch it and have a blast. But I can remove my Star Wars glasses and say, okay, like this is the 3rd movie in a trilogy. I don't think it's that great. Is it better than the other 2? Leagues better. I don't think it's like. I would not consider Revenge of the Sith a good movie for a casual moviegoer.
Interesting. Kanye West would disagree with you, and I think he's
Kanye West is a freak.
He's a genius. He's a Shakespeare of our time. So what would you guys consider a bad Star Wars movie? It doesn't have to be a bad film, but a good Star Wars, like any of that. Just
what?
Absolutely. Like you're like when I think of a bad Star Wars movie,
okay, well,
these 3 come to mind. I'll give you my first ones. When I think of a bad Star Wars movie, I think of, and I love both of you so much. I want you guys to know this right now.
You're not going to offend me.
I think of Attack of the Clones instantly. I think of Rise of Skywalker, and I probably would go for Solo. I feel like Solo's bad one, and I know a lot of people love it. When I think of like bad, I'm like these things aren't going to be aged memorably. I would add The Last Jedi in there, but that's just because I feel like it's not fun. Like even if you love The Last Jedi, it's like it's not a fun. It's like it's an emotional movie to go through. So
I can agree with that.
Yeah, so that one is iffy for me. But my 3 would definitely be Attack of the Clones, Rise of Skywalker, and Solo: A Star Wars Story. I think those are bad Star Wars movies if I had to generalize them. Longa, I'm interested in your take on this.
The top, if you go across the gambit, you know, other than Lego Star Wars, which doesn't count, we're not. It's just not.
Yeah. Live action actually happened.
Okay, but if we're talking about the live action movies, the worst one for me is Last Jedi. It's top of the list, worst one, and then Attack of the Clones shortly after. But here's the thing: at least with Attack of the Clones, there was an emotional tie with it. You know what I mean? There was at least an emotional tie, even if they fudged it all up and it was just sand everywhere. Sand. I was apparently watching Dune without it being Dune. But at least there was an emotional tie. You know, it's like I know Anakin, and it's almost like, yeah, but I know what's coming in the next one. Darth Vader Order 66. You know, so there was a tie-in. The love story we knew Lucas can't write. It was horrible. But there was still some fun stuff in there. You know, like I said, I liked the whole bounty hunter thing. That was fun. There was still some good things in there. But yeah, top is Last Jedi, and right after is Attack of the Clones.
Okay. Well, what about you, Pal Memes? What is 3 Star Wars movies you instantly think of when it comes to a bad Star Wars movie?
A New Hope, Empire, Return. I'm just kidding.
At least it's a New Hope before Empire.
Yeah. I think I find appreciation in all the Star Wars movies, of course, but I think the worst may definitely and this is just my opinion, and there's a lot of lovers at it, but Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace. I tried rewatching them not too long ago, a couple months ago. Even it was me and my brother. My brother just took the remote and just started skipping through like all the scenes, and I kind of agree. I think in terms of like pacing and story and stuff, I think they're pretty freaking weak. And then you've got the lack of character development and all of them. I have no reason to care for Count Dooku. I have no reason to care for even Obi-Wan Kenobi. I just don't like. There's not a whole lot of depth to these characters. And for me, Star Wars, and this is just me, but Star Wars, like what I love about Star Wars the most is the emotional impact and the depth it has with characters and messages and themes. And I understand there's that political theme and stuff, but that's not something I can relate to at all. And so that for me makes Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones on my lower level. I don't even know what would be third on lowest. Yeah, that's a hard one because every other Star Wars movie I find a lot of appreciation and joy for. But I think I understand why people love those movies because as a kid I loved them and stuff. I do think they have a lot of good in them, but in terms of overall story aspects of what makes Star Wars so special to me, it lacks virtually all those.
All right, what about you, Goldman? What are your 3 bad Star Wars movies?
So when I think of like the Star Wars movies, I have like 4 tiers kind of. And this is just like what I think about the quality of a movie. Like Last Jedi is my second favorite Star Wars movie, but I don't think it's better than Episode 4 or Episode 6. I think the 3 bad ones would be Episodes 1, 2, and Rogue One. I think those are genuinely bad movies, and I cannot. It's funny because I have a Rogue One poster up, but I still cannot fathom how people actually think Rogue One is a good movie. Like I get it, it has cool action, but that's just me. So that's what I would put as like actually bad movies. Episode 1, 2, and Rogue One. I would say movies that are watchable or really could be really fun, but have immense problems. Would be Solo, Episode 3, and Episode 9. Yes, Solo, Episode 3, Episode 9. So that's like my 3rd tier. My 2nd tier would be just good quality movies. I would put Episodes 7, 8, and 6. And then my top ones, which are actual like borderline perfect films, is Episodes 4 and 5.
All right, that's pretty fair. I can't think of the tiers that I even have for this.
My Rogue One takes is gonna piss off a lot of people.
Yeah. Carson's already mad. He's all
Good
caps.
job, Goldman.
Yeah. I don't get I really don't get the love for Rogue One. Like I did when I first saw it because I was like, oh wow, this is like really fun and like it felt like a fan film, just made by Lucasfilm. And then like I watched the second time, fell asleep in the theater. I got off of work real early. I was still in high school, and me and my friend were like, "Well, we don't want to go home. What do you want to go do?" And I was like, "Hey, Rogue One's out. Let's go see that." And
Tell you,
sat down first hour and a half. I fell asleep. He had to wake me up for the last sequence.
Go to any like casual fan who likes Rogue One and ask them to name the Rogue One team, and you'll be shocked if they can get at least 3 people. Just like name the characters.
Oh, see, I'm horrible with that. I forget.
At least Jen
names
has
like
a
crazy.
decent amount of care. I don't. Yeah. Rogue One's not my favorite. I just don't think it. I mean, I don't think it's that bad.
Before Cassian Andor got his own show, like I don't think I knew like a cat. Like I have friends that see the Star Wars movies, seen them a few times, watch the Mandalorian. That's it. No one can ever name Bodhi, Baze, or Chirrut. No one ever names them. Jin. I've seen people actually forget the name of the main character. Everyone pretty much remembers K2SO because he's the most. I'd say he's the most memorable character. And then you get the occasional person who remembers Saga or not Saga, Cassian Andor.
I was gonna say,
well, what about Vader?
Saw. I would
What
not
about
consider.
Vader?
Yeah,
I would not
remember
consider
Vader.
Saw, even though Saw is the best
Oh, he's
main in
not
Star
one of the
Wars.
main. Yeah, he's not.
He's
the
not
main
one of the
team.
main 6.
Yeah.
Side
It's
plot.
funny. It's funny
And-
that when you mentioned Bodhi, I literally had to think about who the fuck that was. For a second.
Yeah, I was like,
who the
wait.
fuck is Bodhi?
See, I remember the moment we said Bodhi goggles.
Bodhi,
I
Cargo
but-
pilot.
but yeah,
You didn't even
Like,
name
J-
K2SO.
well, he did. He said it.
Yeah,
He
that's
said
it.
I
everyone
didn't hear
remembers-
him. Huh? That's the
Yeah,
main
he
guy.
said everyone
Love
remembers
K2.
that because he's a droid.
No.
But Jyn Erso, I remember her the main character's name. And I remember Galen Erso just because it's Mad Mikkelsen and he's just awesome.
Yeah.
And I like his name. Galen Erso just rolls off the tongue. I think it's just a great name. So I've always liked it. Krennic, but they're not part of the main 6. But I remember Krennic. Bodhi is the one I remember I forget the most. And Chirrut, even though I forget his name, I just call him Donnie Yen all the time.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same. I always call him Donnie Yen.
Yeah, but Charlie Spur's super chat is honestly right. The movie ends fantastically, and it leaves you with a good taste in your mouth. So you're like, oh, I love this movie. I want to see it again. And then you go see the movie again, and you're like, well, I have to get through this scene, and this scene, and this scene. Okay, we're on Scarif. It's only took us an hour and a half to get here.
Yeah, I'd say the final act
I
is
don't-
pretty awesome, but it's mainly just because it's a really cool action fest. So
I think Idu's a good scene. When
I don't
There's-
understand-
there's good
again, I don't
scenes
understand why
throughout,
people don't
but-
like it either, though. It's like all the scenes with Donnie Yen are great. I'm sorry, he's spectacular.
Yeah.
The few scenes we got with Galen were great. Jyn, I thought she was fine throughout the whole movie.
She's okay.
It slowed down a little bit when we got the Saw, even though I liked Saw and I like Forrest
Vorgullet?
Whitaker. The scene just seemed really weird. The whole thing with that monster and
the truth.
Oh, I forgot about that. I
Me?
completely forgot about that. The whole tentacle.
Kill
Oh
me?
gosh.
Yeah, there's so many things that you forget because like Saga acts like
know.
insane
Oh my
in
God.
Rogue One, and
I
like
forgot
and
about that.
and everything else he acts normal. It's the whole movie's a forgettable fest. If you guys look at my original Rogue One review on the channel, I think I say multiple times like I can't remember who the fuck Cassian Andor is. I was trying to think of his name, Diego Luna.
See,
I kept
his
saying his
scenes
name.
were bad, and that's the thing. It's like that's why I'm worried about the series because it's like I didn't think he was that great in Rogue One. You know, it was kind of bland. So I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
is the series going to be that good?
Yeah, I mean,
But
you guys remember when
Krennic-
they announced it? It was people were like,
It was
"What
like-
the fuck are they making a Cassian
Yeah.
Andor series?"
Right.
Yeah.
Like, but Krennic, as far as the antagonist goes, because we know a lot
liked
of
him.
movies and a lot of shows, they're carried by the villain. Okay, Star Wars would Star Wars be Star Wars if there was no Darth Vader? Let's be fair. That's the villains really help carry stories, and I thought Ben Mendelsohn, right?
Mhm.
Did Krennic all his scenes to me were fascinating and engaging, and so to me that kept it going. I can't go by the whole falling asleep thing because I'll fall asleep through anything. Even something
Yeah, you're
I'm getting old now,
You
so
understand.
I get the nods and I just
It's funny when we were talking about this is kind of unrelated, but when we were talking about the poor gullet scene, I just remember in high school I had this friend who was big into anime, casual Star Wars fan, and we would keep on telling him he loves the new movies because they all have some kind of tentacle monster. in the Force Awakens, they had the Rathars, right? Rogue One had Boar Gullet. Last Jedi is the weakest one, but it has the titty monster that Luke milks. Solo has, I don't remember what it's called, but the giant monster at the end that tries to destroy the Falcon.
Oh, in the space.
The Maw. I think that's what it is. I don't know. And then Rise of Skywalker has Claude. Kind of.
The best one.
Phantom Menace had those sea monsters. There's always bigger fish.
Exactly.
Yes. Attack of the Clones had Anakin because he was trying to get his tentacles on Padme. I guess.
Come on. Gone too
Well, you gotta
far.
remember, you guys saw that tweet though. 'Cause the votes are in. Padme is obviously the strongest female in Star Wars. So
Longa, I'm not gonna denounce that.
Oh,
I think that's very true.
Shaylee. I love Shaylee. She's funny. Yeah. Gosh, I saw. I was like, oh my gosh. She went all out for that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think she had a good point. Padme is the strongest female character. She gave birth to the most powerful Jedi of all time, Luke Skywalker, and what else she do?
Died of
she
sad.
Yeah,
she
got,
got-
dang it.
She died. No, that was Palpatine. You didn't read the Hereditary. You didn't read
It's
the
not even in
Hereditary.
canon.
I don't.
She
you're
died
right.
from sadness.
I didn't read the Reddit.
George Lucas himself
she
said
died
it.
from a
George
broken
Lucas,
heart.
he said that.
She abandoned her kids and died of a broken heart.
That's a strong woman right there. Shout out to Falcon for paying the bills for my electricity this month. He says, I love the movie Rogue One, but I think the main love is from the final act. It was a band of brothers style story, which Star Wars could use more of, in my opinion. Could you guys see that going forward? Like, I feel like
I love the concept.
yeah, like something
Yeah,
where
the
like
third act
they,
was
fun.
great, dude.
I love
yeah,
it.
they all
was
die at
great.
the end. They make it like if they did that with like an Imperial Commando movie or something. I think diehard Star Wars fans would
Oh.
absolutely rage over that. Like all of them are making like a last stand and like the Alamo or something like that, and they just die. Like people would.
That'd be dope.
It's probably why I'll never make a video on why I think Rogue One's a bad movie, because I just love it conceptually, and I wish they would do more movies like that. I don't want more movies like Solo, where it just follows a random character doing side adventures. I don't like when shows are just named after one character, and it seems like literally all of them now are going to be that, except for maybe Rangers, if that still happens. So I prefer a movie that's just like about a team and they all die. Do I wish the movie was better? Yes, but I love it conceptually. I want them to do more of it.
So you're saying we need another Suicide Squad Star Wars movie?
So what are we? Some kind of Rogue One?
Not a big fan of the Suicide Squad, but
Yeah, I've never been.
yes, honestly, yes, I would like a movie, not with that humor, but like conceptually, not like a Suicide Squad, but like a team of people that die.
Yeah, more death is always welcomed in Star Wars. It sometimes can be very emotional, but yet very good. I know I certainly teared up when I saw Jyn and Cassian. I don't know if they kissed or something right before they died, but I was like, oh, this is
Just
sad.
a hug.
Yeah, it seemed like they kissed on the elevator or something. It was kind of weird.
They did lock eyes intensely.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lock eyes with someone like that right before a death. If I don't know if I don't want to kiss them or something. Very, very weird. Do you guys think the Bad Batch is gonna go out like Suicide Squad? Everyone's gonna die at the end. What's gonna happen with those guys?
Probably not.
I wish it happened in the first season. I thought it would have
Oh,
been.
shit.
No, honestly, I thought it would have been very impactful to see the Bad Batch die with the rest of the clone faculty. I think that would have been super impactful. Like, holy cow, the end of the Clone Wars, and then we wouldn't have to see him again. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm messing around. I am looking forward to season 2 now. The last few episodes brought me in. So
It's weird because if you take out Rogue One, he's not really like, you don't get protagonists or any main characters that die. Like every character that dies is usually somewhat old or a side character. I mean, you get Padme, sure. Padme is the only one of the main like 3 characters in the movies to actually die in their trilogy. I mean, Rey dies, but she comes back to life.
It just had to be a woman. Thanks, George.
But like I think Rogue One doesn't really count because when the movie was announced, people like were saying these characters had to die because where would they be in the originals? So in that sense, yes. In Star Wars, you don't really get you don't get like surprising deaths I'm trying to think of an example in the Clone Wars. Like even with Rebels, spoiler, like Kanan was the oldest character. He was the mentor figure. So it makes sense that someone like him dies. Besides that, I mean, have you ever gotten like a young character that's died in Star Wars?
Ben, that was the most controversial
No.
one.
Ben.
He was in his
He was in his 30s, and also
And
he
he
was
was
the
the
villain.
Oh, you
Yeah.
mean like young?
I'm not young,
Oh.
even like a protagonist, right? Like a death.
He became one in a way. I mean,
All the younglings in Order 66.
Yeah, how do you
That
not
was
remember?
Fine,
Shebeki?
they have to
Master
actually be
Skywalker.
named characters in the movies.
Oh, they gotta be named.
Oh, they were. It was
Okay,
Youngling
well,
1, Youngling 2, Youngling
We got a
3.
caveat. All right.
Oh, man.
one of them was Snoke.
I mean,
or supposed to be Snoke.
Our boy Knights of Melvin, shout out. He says,
I love the Knights of Melvin, dude.
who doesn't? I guess
Man,
he's saying
oh,
I'm
man.
a Disney shill now. I'll take his word for it. We're all Disney shills. I'm definitely not compared to Goldman and fucking
Yeah,
Palpatine
exactly.
over here.
Yeah, where's my
Yeah, I
video,
gotta-
Knights of
I
Melvin?
got
What's going on, man?
I gotta give Knights of Melvin a prop. He brought a meme into my friend group because we were on Discord and my followers sent me the video and we watched it. Like the Goldman is a Disney shill. So
Yeah,
they
I
say that
remember
all the
we
time
sent
now.
that to each other.
I
I was
love
like,
it. I love it.
look what
It's
showed up in
good.
my feed.
It's good.
Well, the only people who know I'm a Disney shill are you three. You guys know my Disney
They
shillness.
pay the bills.
They pay my bills in my 1-bedroom apartment with a
I feel like
broken fucking lamp.
Melvin's just like he's just the most he's the most ironic character. He's just literally making fun of everyone in the fandom menace. I hope you are, because you're calling Star Wars Theory a Disney shill.
He makes good videos. Knights of Melvin.
They're
makes
entertaining at the very
very
least.
entertaining videos.
Waiting on
No
mine.
comment.
No,
Well, I
he's
think
ironic. There's literally no way. I know he's here right now, but there's literally no way.
maybe you never know. think that's a good place to wrap it up. That's all the time we have for today. So thank you all for joining us here on Chatooine. Make sure you guys subscribe to Darth Daddy Longo, Palp Memes, and Goldman. Their channels are in the links in the description below. And can't wait to see you guys next time. Next week we'll hopefully have a good Book of Boba scoop to reveal. If not, I'll let you know if there's any updates. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So make sure you leave a like, give a comment once the show ends, and subscribe to everyone's channel if you haven't already. We will see you all next time, and may the Force be with you always.
Wow.